Right, on today's video, I want to talk about a few films that I saw in the pictures. So first up, I seen Late Night with the Devil. I caught that in like a small run, which was pretty cool because I knew next to nothing about Late Night with the Devil, to be honest. So I caught that, which was, like I say, that was an interesting cinema experience, really. And then on Saturday, I double billed Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire and Immaculate as well. I enjoyed two out of the three of them films, to be honest, and one, which I'll talk about later, was an absolute bag of shit, to be honest. And I imagine if you've looked at any reviews for any of these films, you can guess which was the bag of shit, really. First up, we'll start with Late Night with the Devil, and this was a Shudder exclusive that's got a limited cinema run, and I knew next to nothing about it. It stars David Dastmalchian, who I've only actually ever seen in The Dark Knight. Can't really place him too much more than that, really. So I recognise him from The Dark Knight. And he plays a TV host called Jack Delroy, and basically he's playing catch up to Johnny Carson, and his ratings are slipping, and he has a last ditch effort with a Halloween special where he's trying to talk to a possessed girl, and obviously shit kicks off, basically. And that's kind of all I want to say about the synopsis to Late Night with the Devil, because it's a proper interesting film and it's getting a lot of praise at the moment, and I enjoyed it, don't get me wrong, I really did enjoy it, but I think it's just, for me, it's just a modern Ghostwatch, and I'm a massive fan of Ghostwatch. I think Ghostwatch is genius, and where I separate the two is I found Late Night with the Devil, granted there's 30 years apart with these two, so could just be the times, basically, but I didn't find it as subtle as Ghostwatch. I felt it lacked the subtlety that Ghostwatch has got, because until the final act, Ghostwatch doesn't really get going. It's just small scares and little movements and stuff, and it's only the final act that shit really kicks off in Ghostwatch, and I love the pacing of Ghostwatch. I think the discipline and pacing is what makes that, and I found Late Night with the Devil, every scare is like ramped up to 10, and I think that is kind of a sign of modern day horror anyway. If it's not A24 release, you don't really get slow burn horror too much more. Yeah, for me, I just would have liked it to approach the scares in a build up rather than just ramped up, because off the bat, the first scare is like there's a mind reader called Christo, and he channels a bad spirit, basically, and it's just 100. He's just screaming at the top of his voice, and it kicks off. That's like the first 20 minutes, and the scares are just ramped up like that, which it was fun. It was definitely fun, and there's so much to like about Late Night with the Devil, but I couldn't help but compare it to Ghostwatch, and I just think Ghostwatch is the superior format for that. I think Ghostwatch absolutely smashed it, and even Inside Number 9, to be honest, because they've got a Halloween special that was like that, and granted that's only like 25 minutes long, so it's a lot easier to get away with, but I thought Inside Number 9's done an amazing job of that, to be honest, with their Halloween special. And yeah, Late Night with the Devil was just a modern day Ghostwatch in every sense. But when the scares come, they were really effective, to be honest. Especially the possessed girl, Lily. She was creepy, man. She put in a great performance. And the thing that I actually really did enjoy about Late Night with the Devil was I weren't watching 70s TV shows, but I felt like they nailed the aesthetic, like the right amount of grain, and they done a really clever thing with, like, when it was the actual TV show on air, they switched the ratio, so it was like a TV ratio, basically. So it had like the black bars down the side, and then when it went to the backstage stuff that wasn't live, it went to normal format, and I thought that was a good, clever way. And also that was black and white, and the TV show itself was in colour. And I thought that was a really clever way to differentiate the two. So there's definitely plenty to like with Late Night with the Devil, and I can see exactly why it's getting the praise that it is, because it's an interesting film, man. It's a very interesting film. And the ending, especially, it's got like a very folk ending. It's very, very folky and strange, and I love the ending, really. I will say I am looking forward to checking it out in my house, which is obviously a weird thing to say because the pictures is always a better viewing experience, but I just think because that was a TV special, I think it'd play a little bit better in your house, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to rewatching that when it hits Shudder, and seeing what it's like on a second time watch. But it definitely deserves all the praise it's getting, because it's an interesting film and it's nice and refreshing, man. It's not the same stuff you're always seeing, which I'll talk about with Immaculate as well. But yeah, we'll move on to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire now. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire for me was an absolute bag of shit. It was horrendous, man. Like, I letterboxed it like 1.5 stars. And honestly, I don't know why I've given it 1.5. I think I've been generous. Like, it didn't bring any emotion whatsoever. Like, it was boring. Like, the comedy didn't hit, the scares didn't hit, the ghosts were very run of the mill and boring. The only thing I can really say was okay was the score. And that's because it's a Ghostbusters score, eh? They're just harping back to the 80s Ghostbusters, which I think the thing that killed Ghostbusters Frozen Empire for me, which it shouldn't, because I should be able to go back and watch Ghostbusters, but 2 weeks ago, I showed my daughter the original Ghostbusters, and like I just forgot how amazing the original Ghostbusters is. Like, I'm not a massive Ghostbusters fan. Obviously, I like it, but rewatching that original Ghostbusters really gave me a new appreciation for it. Especially watching it with my daughter, it was cool to show her it, and she loved it as well. She got it. Like, that was sick, man. That was a good viewing, and I think having that so fresh in my mind really highlighted exactly every issue with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Like, it's just not Ghostbusters in any sense of the word. It's not. And I did like Afterlife as well. But for me, it just falls completely flat. It's got no heart whatsoever. The Spengler family, like Phoebe, Paul Rudd, Finn Wolfhard. I mean, he was diabolical in this. Finn Wolfhard, like, I feel like the only thing he ever done was remind you that he was 18 now. I think every line he said was like, I'm an adult now. Like, he just done nothing. He was terrible. And Paul Rudd, I'm not a massive Paul Rudd fan, which is quite controversial because I feel like everyone loves Paul Rudd. I think he's not bad, but I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, my favourite role of it is Mike from Friends, which he is great as Mike from Friends, to be fair. Pretty much everything he done in this film just reminded me why I kind of don't like Paul Rudd. There was also, like, honestly, about 9 different side stories. It was so convoluted and bloated. Like, you couldn't figure out what was happening. You didn't really know what the main storyline was. The thing I liked about Frozen Empire in the trailer was the villain looked really cool. Like, I think his name Baracus or Baccharis, one of the two, or something like that. And obviously, the trailer just showed him freezing New York, and I thought that looked like a sick concept. But he doesn't even get no screen time, man. Like, he comes in, and, like, if I'm saying the last 15 minutes, I'm being very generous. And it's just, there's not enough, man. And then the original Ghostbusters, like, Dan Aykroyd got used really well. Like, I feel like he was the only thing that kind of, I don't want to say save it because I give it 1.5 stars, but Dan Aykroyd was definitely the positive in this. He definitely was. Because Ernie Hudson, while Ernie Hudson's kind of a crank anyway, his whole role was just, he was the head of the Ghostbusters Academy, putting money into getting new technology, basically. But he didn't really have much to do. He was quite a crank. He was quite annoying. So Ernie Hudson wasn't great, to be honest. And Bill Murray was absolutely diabolical. Bill Murray got absolutely zero to do. He'd just pop in, say 2 jokes, and then fuck off. That was his whole thing. Like, at least Dan Aykroyd got a storyline and Ernie Hudson. And it honestly feels like Bill Murray agreed to this last minute or something, so they didn't have time to write him a storyline, because he's got no business being in this film. He just pops in, says a joke, which is probably not even funny. I don't think he says a single good joke either, which is another problem. Because Bill Murray's just Bill Murray. His performances are all very similar, but he's great. He's just boss being Bill Murray, and he had nothing to do. He'd just pop in, say a line, and pop back out, and then 20 minutes later he'd pop back in, say a line, and pop back out, and yeah. But hands down, the worst character in this was James Acaster. Now, I like James Acaster his stand-up's okay. I like him on panel shows, so I like him on like 8 out of 10 Cats and Would I Like You. I think he's quite strange, quite funny. Mate, he could not have wrote any of them lines because he didn't say a single good line. It was terrible. And also, he was just James Acaster in a Ghostbusters suit. It was so jarring seeing him in the role. Every time he'd come on screen, you'd be like, oh yeah, there's James Acaster in a Ghostbusters suit. Like, it was just jarring. It was really bad, to be honest. So he was hands down the worst thing about the film, to be fair. He just had nothing. I don't know why he was in it. So Frozen Empire was a massive disappointment for me. I got nothing out of it, really, which was sad because I was proper psyched about that. Like, that was probably the film I was looking forward to most out of them 3. And yeah, it just didn't land for me whatsoever. And looking at Letterboxd and stuff, it's not landed for anyone. I think it's on like 2.9 stars at the minute. Like I say, I give it 1.5, and I think I was being generous as well. And last up, we'll talk about Immaculate. Now, I've got to be honest, when I seen the poster and I saw the trailer in the pictures, like leading up to the release, I thought this was going to be another religious nun Blumhouse teenage horror. I always end up seeing these films, don't get me wrong, and I always end up hating them. Like, religious horror and nun horror it just doesn't work for me at all. It doesn't really do anything other than there's a select few. Like, obviously, I mean, The Exorcist is a masterpiece, but even all the other possession films, like, it's very difficult to please me with that genre of film, to be honest. So I always end up seeing them, and I usually hate them. Like 9 times out of 10, I hate them. So I probably weren't even going to end up seeing this, or if I did, it was just going to be because there was nothing else on. And I seen it was getting good reviews, so I thought I'd check it out because I had the day off, like, and I've got to say, I'm so happy that I got to watch that the same day as Ghostbusters, because that would have been a shite experience just seeing Ghostbusters. This is everything I thought it wouldn't be. It's brutal. Storylines are interesting. The scares are not just jump scares. Like, it's got some gnarly stuff in it. Like Sydney Sweeney as well. Like, I've only seen it in Anyone But You and Madam Web. And Anyone But You, she was good, don't get me wrong, she was great in it, but it's a rom-com. She's just the girl trying to get her life together. Like, she played that really well. And then in Madam Web, she's like the shy teenager in that, and she smashed that, because like they're two very different roles, and she done well in both of them, even though Madam Web was pathetically bad, like really, really bad. But Sydney Sweeney wasn't bad in it, to be fair. While I knew she was an all right actor, mate, in this role, she absolutely kills it, mate. She is so good in it. I want to see it in more horror, because like I say, I've only seen it in them two, and I did enjoy Anyone But You. I didn't like Madam Web, but Sydney Sweeney was great in both of them. But in this, mate, she is so heavy, man. Just a quick plot synopsis. You've probably all seen the trailer and whatnot, but the trailer doesn't really do it justice. So the synopsis is, she's a 20-something-year-old nun from Michigan. Her parish closes down, so she goes to, I think it's like a convent in Italy, and basically the younger nuns look after the older nuns, and that's where they go to die, basically, the older nuns. And some of them have got like mental illnesses, and some of them have got like dementia and whatnot, and basically it's just a comfortable place for them to live their life. Sydney Sweeney falls pregnant without conception, and obviously it's deemed a miracle, but then obviously shit goes south and you find out certain things that don't quite make it a miracle. And that's all I'm going to say on it, because it's got a few good twists and turns in it, and like the actual twist towards the end was like right up my street. I proper loved it. But yeah, man, it's got a few brutal things, like someone commits suicide, and it's almost like the effect in Midsummer, you know, where the woman falls off the cliff and her head's just exploded. It's that, and obviously that was the first time anything really gnarly happens, and because it was in that film and I didn't know what to expect, it was proper jarring to see that, and it was so effective. The scares are so effective in this film. Honestly, if you're going to go and see, like, Late Night with the Devil definitely deserves to be seen, but I personally think it'll play better at home, to be honest. But if you're going to go and see any of these, fuck Ghostbusters off. Like, go and see Immaculate, because I don't feel like it's going to be seen because of the way the poster looks and the trailer looks, and it needs to be seen. It's such a good film. Like, I proper loved it. So yeah, I can't recommend that anymore, really, and I really hope people do go out for it, because it's phenomenal, and Sydney Sweeney is unbelievable in it. Like, she acts her ass off, man. Like, she smashes it. So yeah, it's one to be seen, definitely, and I can see it being quite divisive. If you don't like how the twist goes at the end, I can see that ruining the film, because it's quite a big direction shift it takes. I was all in though, so I just fully bought in and loved it. But the score and some of the way it's shot is very A24, like, and obviously if you watch A24 films, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But like, the score has got like snippets that sound like The Witch, and even bits of Hereditary as well. Yeah, it's just a really interesting film, and the poster and trailer do not make it look interesting. They make it look very dull. So highly recommend going to see Immaculate, because yeah, I fully loved it. Like, I thought it was fantastic. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about a few films, really, because that's not a bad week over the pictures whatsoever. Let me know in the comments if you've seen any of them films. Hopefully you just go out to see Immaculate and Late Night with the Devil. And if you're a hardcore Ghostbusters fan, let me know what you think, because I don't know whether I'm being super harsh on it or if I just don't get it or whatever. I'd love to know in the comments if you actually enjoyed Frozen Empire whatsoever. Like I say, Letterboxd isn't doing it too many favours. For anyone who cares, I give Immaculate four stars. I genuinely think it is that good. But yeah, nice one for checking the video out. If you did enjoy it, like it, subscribe to the channel, share it around. That'd be massively appreciated. Drop in the comments if you've seen them films, which one was your favourite, what ones you're going to go and see. And yeah, nice one. See you in a bit.